Currently in the United States, more than 5 million people are living with Alzheimer's, and over 15 million individuals are serving as their unpaid caregivers. As the prevalence of Alzheimer's continues to grow, the cost of care is escalating into the hundreds of billions, and it's destroying our families, our finances, and future. The disease is relentless, but so are we. I can tell by the amazing support out here today. And right now, I'd like to invite Marley Hardy on the stage to say a few words.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Zach. On behalf of the 41,000 associates that make up Edward Jones, we're honored to be here. It's an honor to join you and walk with you today to join the battle against this fight. For 95 years, Edward Jones has been in the business of relationship building and helping our clients build wealth. But for our clients that have Alzheimer's, we hear it does the exact opposite. In many cases, it destroys finances for both the individual with the disease and his or her family. And nearly a third of our 7 million clients are age 65 years or older, which is the greatest threat to this disease. We're not willing to stand by idly and watch our clients lose their loved ones and their hard-earned savings to Alzheimer's. That is why we walk with you here today. Thank you for your dedication in being here today. And with us this morning, we have a very special guest who's helping us in our community fight this disease. Would you please welcome Mayor Tom Broderick.
Thank you, Marley. Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming out today and joining us on this most beautiful day here in Indiana. Maybe a little warm. Probably get warm a little bit later here. And also in our beautiful park here at Shadyside. It's a real pleasure to be here. I look around, I think about last year, and I think about the numbers of people that were here then. I look now, and it just looks like it's starting to multiply year in and year out. And you can certainly see and know why when we try to fight this horrible disease. As you know, this disease, while it most often ends in the death of a person, the truth of it is that's not the worst part. It's the memories that are lost, and it's the dignity that's lost, and the difficult times it is for the survivors who have to work and work with folks to have them have a good quality of life, the best they can towards the end of their life. And so it's a horrible disease that deserves a great deal of attention, and you are all proof that that attention is here, and that the fight against Alzheimer's can certainly be won if we continue the good fight. I'm proud here today as your mayor to bring a proclamation which reads as follows. Whereas Alzheimer's disease is the nation's sixth leading cause of death, affecting more than 5 million Americans and more than 110,000 Hoosiers, and whereas more than 335,000 families and friends in Indiana care for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease, and whereas the Alzheimer's Association has a mission to eliminate Alzheimer's disease through the advancement of research, to provide and enhance care and support for all affected, and to reduce the risk of dementia through the promotion of brain health, and whereas the Alzheimer's Association Greater Indiana Chapter will host today's Anderson Walk to End Alzheimer's on this date at Shadyside Memorial Park in an effort to increase awareness about Alzheimer's and raise funds for research. Now therefore I, as Mayor of the City of Anderson, do hereby proclaim this date as Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Day, and I ask all citizens to join in this observation. Thank you again so very much for being here, and I look forward to watching you and working with you as we walk the trails here today. Thank you.
And I'm here today because I truly believe that together we can all end Alzheimer's. And I can see from the sea of purple today that I'm not alone. So who is ready to lead the way to end Alzheimer's? And a special thank you to the volunteers who have worked so hard over the past few months, and especially today, I've seen you all running around. Our devoted walk planning committee members, be sure to thank them for organizing this wonderful day. The top corporate team awards go to, in third place, University Nursing Center. Second place, Stonebrook. And the top corporate team award goes to Community Hospital Anderson for raising $15,222. And the top community team, first place, Team Jackley, raising $3,006. On behalf of the more than 110,000 people in Indiana who are living with Alzheimer's, and their 335,000 caregivers, we deeply appreciate your time and help in raising essential awareness and funds for Alzheimer's care, support, and research. I'd like to introduce you to Christina Schultz, who's willing to share her personal experience with the disease. Please welcome Christina.
Good morning. The last time I spoke at this walk, my grandma was sitting in her wheelchair next to me. I really thought I could do this without crying. I was speaking on behalf of her and her journey with Alzheimer's disease. Today, I'm going to share how this heartbreaking disease has affected my family and myself as her caregivers. My grandma, Alberta Hutton, was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in 2010. My grandpa was her first caregiver. He did everything he could to help make her more comfortable. He did things like install a sit-down bathtub, and he put a bell on her door to make sure he knew when she was leaving her bedroom. He remained strong until he became sick with lung cancer and could no longer take care of Grandma. As a family, we decided that my grandparents would be most comfortable living with my mom and her husband. My mom then became my grandma's primary caregiver. I did my best to assist her, especially when my grandpa passed away. It was difficult for me to take care of my grandma. She had always been my rock, my shoulder to cry on, my safety net, and my kindred spirit. Watching her lose parts of herself was heartbreaking, and sometimes I left exhausted, sad, and depressed. Yet other times I saw in the midst of that sadness the small and precious gifts that this disease cannot take away. I still was able to hold her hand, see her smile, snuggle with her patting me on my cheek, and me being able to give back to her what she gave to me, unconditional love. No matter what, I knew we would stay forever connected through our hearts, even though we could not always connect with our minds. My grandma's last year of life was spent in and out of the hospital. She suffered from strokes and became an increased fall risk. She was diagnosed with a subdermal hematoma in her brain and a broken sacrum. She went to a nursing home and continued to have frequent falls. It seemed that most of the ways to prevent her falls relied on her ability to read a sign or push a button, but these things didn't seem to help. She then suffered another stroke that damaged her visual cortex and caused her not to see anything on the right side of her body. My mom and I had to make some very difficult choices during these times, but we always made it our goal to make Grandma's quality of life as comfortable as possible while also maintaining her dignity. Though she was unable to communicate well or fully express her needs, the core of who she was remained the same. Her sweet soul, her love of Elvis Presley, her kindness. Alzheimer's is an emotional roller coaster for everyone and a constant learning experience. It is so much more than memory loss. Alzheimer's divides your loved one into two people, who they were before the disease and who they are with it. And I grieved my grandma twice. But I do feel so very blessed to have been able to care for somebody that once cared for me. She was my angel on earth, and now she is my angel in heaven. She would thank each and every one of you here today for the sacrifices you have made to find a cure. And if you happen to see a cardinal on your walk today, please know it's my grandma saying hello. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina, for sharing your story. As you look around this morning, you'll notice orange, purple, yellow, and blue flowers. These flowers highlight our different reasons for being here today, our connections to Alzheimer's disease. Up first, the orange flower. The orange flower presents people like Sandy Nazelrode, who is here today because she supports the cause and the vision of a world without Alzheimer's disease. If you have an orange flower, join Sandy in raising it and keeping it held high. Up next, the purple flower, which represents people like Christina Schultz, who you just heard is here today in memory of her grandmother. If you have a purple flower to represent a loved one lost to Alzheimer's, please join Christina in raising it and keeping it held high. Next up, the yellow flower, which represents people like Diana Parker, who is here today as a caregiver to her husband Larry, who lives with Alzheimer's. If you have a yellow flower, please join Diana in raising it and keep it held high. Next up, the blue power. Blue power, blue flower. That represents people like Larry Parker, who is here today because he is living with Alzheimer's disease. If you have a blue flower, please join Larry in raising it and keeping it held high. Take a look at the symbolic flowers around you. These flowers represent the promises that we have come together to fulfill. A colorful display in our intent to honor, remember, care, and fight. Like I said, I apologize, I'm getting emotional. I dealt with this too much. We know we're facing a relentless and devastating disease that can't yet be prevented, cured, or even slowed. But we also know that this is a fight that we can win. And I'm confident that one day we will add a flower to this garden. A white flower, held by Kelly Ashby, that represents the first survivor of Alzheimer's disease.